G'day chaps and welcome to my updated beginner's guide. I had actually made one of these before, but I've had a few requests to make a new one. First I'll give you a little pre-ramble. I'll tell you what I'm going to cover basically in this guide, and then I'm going to jump right into it. So by way of introduction, this is for people who have basically just bought the game. Firstly, congratulations. This is one of the best games I've ever played. I have absolute faith in the development, and you're not going to regret your purchase. I'm going to cover basically how to survive, the basics. And if you want more advanced stuff, I recommend you go and check out Reddit or the Hinterland forums. But in this is really just to get you started. So 10 things that are going to help you survive. Right. To do this, I'm going to jump into a brand new sandbox. I'm going to do this on Stalker. Obviously, you can start on any difficulty. I wouldn't recommend Interloper to begin with. It's incredibly difficult. Stalker is hard, but to really learn the game, I would recommend that you push towards Stalker as soon as possible, because the other difficulty levels, they kind of give you kids' gloves. Stalker is, in my opinion, the way it's meant to be played. To really kind of learn the game, you get all of the effects. So, for example, you get what's it called? Cabin fever in Stalker, but you won't get that in other difficulty levels. That's just an example. As you can see, I've played this quite a lot. I've got 500 hours in the Long Dark. I've also got a ton of series on the game on my channel. So if you're interested, you can go and check that out. If you subscribe, I'll make more The Long Dark stuff also. Okay, so we're going to do Stalker. I'll go for a random start, and I'll just recreate this as... I won't activate that. I'll do it. Okay. Just as you're going to do it. Beginner's guide. So I'm going to start as you start, and I'll kind of talk you through it. So you're going to... there's no spoilers here because I can start in any kind of situation, but this is basically what happens to you. You'll wake up in a random spot. I'm sure you've probably already tried this and you've died a couple of times, and this is probably why you've looked for a guide like this. Okay, so immediately I'm going to look at my stats. It's minus 33 degrees Celsius, which tells me my clothing is probably very shit. So here's the clothing screen. I've got a shitty shirt on. I've got plain jeans, some crappy thermal underwear, leather shoes, cotton scarf, and my head is bare. So, of course, I'm absolutely freezing. This is the northern Canadian wilderness. This is not a place you would survive very long without clothing. So obviously, the first thing you need to do is find shelter. And you also are going to need to find some fuel. So, look around you. That ahead, you're going to see some fishing huts. The best fuel to get, and this is probably the best beginner's tip I can give you, are these sticks. Don't break these branches down. It takes too long. It's going to get you too cold too quickly. Your biggest enemy in the beginning is hypothermia. And if you start in a place like this, as I kind of have done, I mean, we're going to get to the point where we're hitting hypothermia very, very quickly. If you've not played this much, you're also not going to know where you are. So don't go wandering off to random locations. You probably want to follow the road. Also hit sprint. You can run. Hit shift, sorry. Shift is run. Running is a good idea. So we're at risk for hypothermia already. So I'm following the road. And I'm kind of just looking on the sides for sticks. You're not going to find sticks if they're not under trees, however. And up ahead we see what I'm going to call a permanent structure. That's what you need to look for to begin with. So, shelter, fuel, in that order. And then we're going to need to find some water, cook up some water. And I'll talk about that in just a second. because we're going to start out without anything. Especially on Stalker, you don't really start with anything. But yeah, so the first, number 1, I'm going to do 10. Number 1 is shelter, fuel, and water. Water, basically, if I just explain this now, you're taking these sticks, and you're going to use these sticks to boil water. Hey, I can hear a wolf. Anyway, let's get inside. Just kind of recreate this starting scenario for you. I'll try not to let this guide run on too long either. Now, you're going to search all this stuff. And you just do that, you just click on it. And yeah, you really want to find clothing. Clothing is very important. I'm going to try and find some food so I can just talk about that very quickly. Because number 2 is food and food condition. Right, I don't have any, so let's just see if we've got any in our inventory. Right, here we go. We have a stale chocolate bar. You can see it's at 32%. So number 2, food and food condition. If you look in the bottom left there, shit, we're still freezing. Oh dear. Okay. So you can see our condition dropping because it still feels like -2. You need to get to feeling like like 0 or above to stop freezing to death. So I've just picked up some clothing. I'm gonna see if I can. Okay, I've just swapped out the clothing, these shoes. I'm gonna drop the others, and that hasn't helped. All right, so we're gonna go look for some of the clothing while I talk about food condition. I need to make sure I don't get off topic, so I'll keep on checking just while I talk. So food condition, what we have here, 32%. If it's above 50%, basically you're safe. Below 50%, there's a chance that you might get a stomach illness. And when it goes below maybe 20 or 15%, I wouldn't really recommend eating it unless you're desperate. So that was how we ate. Water we don't have yet. I'm going to pick up that wood. Still looking for clothing. I'll cook up water in just a second. We'll look for some more clothes first. We're also looking for, and this is number 3, flares or torches. Now, flares or torches you can use as a defense against wolves, and wolves are going to be the primary culprit in this kind of scenario. Wolves are going to be your biggest danger to begin with. It's pretty unlikely that you, unless you're really unlucky, that you're going to come across any bears to begin with. Alright, that's helped our conditions slightly. The other important thing, obviously, is, maybe you don't know this, but is sleeping. So bed, you can see here, if you just click on the bed, it goes hours to sleep. And then if you look below it, it shows warmth bonus +6. So you can see that we're freezing, getting hypothermia. Feels like -1. We are losing condition constantly. If we just sleep for an hour, like this, and in the top left you can see you've got 12 hours of daylight left. 13, 12, 11 hours of daylight left. This is the very early morning. It's the coldest part of the day. So you're at most risk in the very early morning. I wouldn't recommend going outside in the very early hours. Now you can see now our cold has improved, and if we just sleep another hour, that'll warm us up again. And before we were at 87%, this will improve our condition also. So now we're at 89% and we're chilled rather than freezing. So sleep is very important. It warms you up and you recover condition. Alright, we're not tired enough anymore. So that is that. So number 3, flares and decoy, flares and torches. Flares you find, and you can access those flares by pressing number 1. So there's a flare. You just hold the mouse to light it. I'm not going to light it right now because we don't need to. But if a wolf charges you, If you hear barking, basically that means a wolf is onto you. You light it, and then you can wave it around. Hunting knife, extremely important. I'll come back to that. Also, there's a hook, easy to miss, and some line, very easy to miss. Just to finish off flares and torches. Torches you can, where is it, craft. So in here you can craft a torch. You need 1 reclaimed wood, 1 cloth, and lamp oil. Lamp oil you find, reclaimed wood you find, cloth you either find, or if you want to, you can break down the curtains here like this. So I could break that down. That gives me 2 cloth. This also helps you repair your clothing, and I'll come back to that when I get onto clothing. Here's more food, very good condition. As it's in good condition, I will hold on to that and see if I find any food that's in worse condition, and you eat the worst condition food first, because that just kind of makes sense. And here's the other way to get reclaimed wood. You can break down chairs. Don't think you can break down tables. No, you need a hatchet. So that's flares and torches. If we come across a wolf, I'll show you how to do that. The other thing is decoys. So if a wolf is onto you, if you have any kind of meat in your inventory, or guts, or anything like that, you basically press number 3. Right now we don't have any decoys in our inventory, but you press number 3, and that will drop a decoy. And that means that the wolf will go to the decoy. It's basically food, and it will eat that decoy, and it will leave you alone. Because the wolves are extremely hungry all the time, and if you are carrying meat especially, they're going to chase you down. I'm just going to show you water while we're in here, how to boil up water. Because you can see that we're getting a dry mouth. Basically, you start a fire, you have matches, you have tinder, you have stick. Once you start the fire, you can boil up some water. It's really as simple as that. It's also handy if you are too cold and either you're in a building with a fire, or you're in a very sheltered place outside if you're desperate. Because you do get wind, protection from the wind. And I'll just show you now. So if you look in the bottom left hand corner, there's a little icon, there's a shield and then a wind next to it just above the condition. That means you are protected from the wind. You can see which way the wind is blowing. And you can see that in the bottom left it feels like minus 16 degrees. If I step out into the wind, it's minus 28 suddenly. I step back in, minus 15, minus 28. So, massive difference. So we've covered decoys. Next one, number 5, is crouching. Now to crouch you press the left control. And you can see you crouch like this, that slows you down. But it also makes you almost invisible to wolves. Also deer and bear. So I'm going to show you crouching with this wolf here. Just trying not to get too close. So there are 2 wolves up ahead. Okay, this is probably about the distance where they might start to recognize me if I wasn't crouching, but with crouching enabled you can really get quite close. And this means that you can kind of sneak past them. Right now I'm going to head to the top of this island. There's a house up there. And that will see us safe, get away from this sort of freezing condition. So yeah, this is crouching. I guess I'll show you what using the flare is like. So you can see we're crouching, everything's safe. If I stand up, they should notice me pretty quick. Yeah, there we go. So if you're in this situation and the wolf's coming at you, just hold down to light the flare. You could also drop the decoy if you had one. And press the right mouse to brandish the flare. Now don't get too close. or they might attack. You just kind of want to be about that distance and then brandish. If they run towards you like that, they back off. You just keep on brandishing and they will run. In the meantime, try and get some space between you, try and get to where you're going. They'll probably continue to follow you, but keep going all the same. You can see he's still coming after us, but you can still continue to sprint and get away from them. Pick up sticks because they're quick and easy. Okay, let's see where that wolf's at. There he is. So in this situation I'm going to choose to run rather than stay and brandish. There's no point if we're heading to a building. Just going to pick up all the sticks and then we're going to get inside. Okay. And that is that. Okay. Just drop that. Okay. Now that we're inside, I should be able to hopefully show you how to repair clothing. Let's see. We don't have any kind of sewing kit. So if you have a sewing kit, basically, or if you have fisherman's tackle, so fishing tackle, so we have, you see there we have hooks, we have lines. If we craft this, so we've just crafted that, and then we go back to our clothing screen here, we're now able to repair that clothing. And it's slower using the fishing tackle, but it still works. So we can take that cloth and we can repair it like that. And when you're repairing or you're doing anything that takes time, always make sure that you're warm enough and you're staying warm. So that's clothing and repairs. Sleep and recovering condition are kind of covered. Next one is knife and hatchet. So the knife I've already found. Here's your hunting knife. You can sharpen that if you find a whetstone. You need the knife to, number one, defend yourself. Number two, also to skin animals. So you will tend to find deer carcasses around quite a lot. And you can skin those deer carcasses. You can also remove guts.
Nobody needs this anymore.
Using the knife. And there's some water. That's good. I'm pretty thirsty. Let's get a drink. The hatchet you need to primarily break down bigger pieces of wood. So if you want to cut a log outside, you'll need the hatchet. Also, if you want to break down, like the table I showed you earlier, it's the hatchet you're going to need. Okay. Number 9, onto guns and hunting. Guns and hunting, I should probably get a gun to show you. So maybe I'll load up a different game real quick. Let's just quit that. I'll show you my my other game. So my main game here, I'll show you, this is a very advanced game, so let's just have a look. This is a day 120, explores 73% of the world. That's actually a lot, because you don't go to every single corner. Also got high skills in fire starting, firearms. So firearm skill is important. You get this by using your firearm, also by reading books. So let's see if I have any books. Yeah, there we go. So here's a book. You can research that, and you can see that it says there improves the fire starting skill by 10 points. So you can find books on firearms and all other kind of stuff. Got a ton of cured guts. Got a ton of meat here. So I must have just taken down a deer. My skills aren't that high, by the way, because I've just been... I played this game before they released the update. the added skills to the game. So this is an old game that I used to play quite a lot. So I'll just show you guns very quickly. Come on. Alright. So here is your rifle. Your rifle has condition. This is on Forlorn Muscat, by the way. Muskeg, rather. Your gun has condition. Here are we? Here we are. Hunting rifle, 97%. You improve its condition by cleaning it. And to clean it, you need one of these, a rifle cleaning kit. So if you find one of those, you can repair it. There's all kinds of stuff that you'll come across in the game, by the way, just as an aside. Survival bow, arrows, snares, flare, disperse pistol, flare shell, this bearskin bedroll. These are all fairly advanced things. I'll just show you my clothing real quick. Your wolfskin coat, expedition parka, deerskin pants, rabbitskin mitts, deerskin boots. This is all fairly advanced stuff. And you can see that even with all that, at 12 hours of daylight left, it's still -5. So really is cold. So you repair your weapon to the best of your ability, if you can, once you find one. Rounds are going to be pretty scarce to begin with, so try and only shoot when you really have to. Either if you need food desperately and you can take down a deer easily, or your life depends on it and a wolf is charging you. I'll just show you how to shoot. So what I tend to do, I'll crouch, and you aim. I normally aim and let the animal come into my sights rather than the other way around. And then, ha, missed it. It's gonna happen. Rabbits, by the way, don't shoot them. Just don't bother, ever. They're incredibly hard to hit. If you want to kill rabbits, use a snare. And a snare you can craft from... Oops. A snare you can craft from... what was it? Cured guts and... let's see if I can hit this guy. Here we go. And you can see that's helped my my rifle skill as well. But yeah, never waste bullets on rabbits, just not worth it. Once you've hunted, you want to go to the body, and this is when your weapons become useful. So, different times, I'll just show you this. Let's say we want 1 kilo of this rabbit meat. To use the knife, because this is fresh, i.e. it hasn't frozen yet, the knife is more efficient, so it only takes 8 minutes. It takes 30 minutes with no tools, and then 15 minutes with the hatchet. That will also be 15 minutes with the hacksaw. If it was the other way around, if it was frozen completely, the hatchet would be faster than the knife. The other thing to note is that if you want the hide or the guts, it's the knife that you're going to need to use. You can't get those with a hatchet. So finding that knife is critical. Finding the hatchet is of secondary importance, but also important. Yeah. Okay, last but not least, number 10. The maps and figuring out where you are. There are no maps in the game, as in the actual game itself. You just have to learn this as if it were a real place. So you have to learn it by sight. And that, for me, is a huge part of what makes the game fantastic. When I learnt how to play The Long Dark, I did go and look at the maps online, because otherwise you're just so lost. And knowing where you are is of critical importance in this game. I can't stress that enough. You need to learn where you are, especially to begin with. Wherever you start, be it on Mystery Lake or wherever, you need to know which way you're headed in, because you need to find shelter and you need to be able to get some food. So look online, that's what I did. There are tons of maps out there. They show where all the resources are. It's up to you how much you want to reveal to yourself. Whether you think that's cheating or not, or
I say I hate being cold.
however you want to play it.
I really do.
But yeah, I would definitely get a head start before you go out and explore the rest of the maps without help, because it's just too tough otherwise. Okay, that's it from me. I hope you found this useful. I also hope you don't mind my kind of chilled style. It's not particularly structured, but I also prefer to game this way. You'll find my playthrough videos are pretty much like this. Yeah, do subscribe if you've enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. Ciao for now.